Cassandra Mary Bauer, thank you so much for being on the Woo Report. I'm so happy to see you in person.
I'm so excited, Laura. Thank you so much for having me on the Woo Woo Report.
I love it. So I found you because I was deep in YouTube looking at near-death experiences, and my jaw was on the floor when I heard your story. And it's a miracle that every one of us is here. It's a miracle you and I are here. We both had these near-death experiences. And while they can be shocking and so wild, the real juiciness and the real magic, and I think that you'll agree with me on this, has come from what has happened after and how we have transformed that moment into something more expansive for us and how we have transformed it into purpose. So I know you've told this story before, but I think it'll be new for my listeners, and I'd love to hear about this wild near-death experience that you had.
Yeah, thank you for that, Laura. And I just want to say before I kind of go into the story that I know I had said this to you before, but one of the reasons that I'm so excited to do this podcast with you is because this is the first podcast that I've done with another host that has experienced and had the full experience of a near-death experience. But it's a different vibration. It's a different space to kind of dive into. And I'm really excited for that, to like play with you in not only the story, but like where it came from in both of us and like the beautiful miracles after. Because I feel like that's what a lot of people don't get to hear, you know? So with that said, going into my near-death experience, it's, what year is it now? 2025. So this is 12 years ago now. So this happened 2013, November 11th. So 11/11, at 1:11 a.m.
What?
Yeah. I know. And I get to say that to you because I know you're going to connect that and understand it.
That is wild.
Yeah. So for a lot of people that, don't know and are tuning in, 11/11, the angelic representation is really the new beginning. And it's such a deep and profound and prolific moment. And the way that I see it now is like the 11/11 are doorways. It's a gateway. It's a portal into something new. So in 2013, I was physically 25 years old. And at that time, I was really suffering in my life. I was working in a restaurant and bar industry in Chicago. And I had been an addict for the past 15 years of my life at that point. And when I say addict, I mean it in the way of when I was, 11 years old, the school system put me on a drug that a lot of people know these days is Adderall. And Adderall at that time was prescribed to me for ADD and ADHD and a learning disability. And for me, I've said this before and I'll say it again, it was the drug that stole my soul because it really took me out of the presence of the human experience. It sped up my nervous system. It pushed me away from myself. And it was a drug that I was guided by the school system and the doctors to be on. And of course, at that age, I gave my power away and not only took it, but ended up abusing it because I felt like no one cared enough about me to regulate it, to look deeper, to understand why I was acting the ways that I was acting. And the truth is the reason I was acting those ways is because I was suffering. I was a very, very sensitive child living in a very intense world. And I came from a lot of suffering and a lot of addiction and a lot of abuse, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. And I wanted to be seen, I wanted to be heard. I wanted to be acknowledged. I wanted to be held. And I wasn't getting that, So it took me down a 15-year pill addiction, and I just checked out of the human experience. And when I was 25 years old and working in this job, I'll never forget going into the bathroom when my brother Blake called me. He's the middle child of our family. And hearing him tell me that our eldest brother Jason had overdosed and that he was no longer here. And in that moment, it was like something shifted me back into the human experience. I looked in the mirror, I fell to my knees, and I felt my soul. And I get to I'm excited to play with you in this way and speak in my language, because this is the truth. It's like I had been dissociated for 15 years of my life. And it was like, it took this big punch to get me back into my body and feel the pain. And in that moment, looking back now, it's like, who would want to feel that pain, right? Like, who would want to feel the pain of my childhood? Who would want to feel the pain of all that abuse and all that struggle? And something clicked in that moment. It was like everything made sense, but at a deeper level than I could really understand at a conscious level. And within that moment, it took me into a space of wanting to get sober. I just had a knowing, there was something, it was like my soul, now that I say it and I can say it to you, it was like my soul was trying to figure this thing out and communicate with Cass. Here we go. This is the journey. Follow me. But as the human, right, Cass, she was like, I don't know if I can trust this, right? I don't know if I can trust the guidance, the signs, the feelings, the intuition, right? So I took that next time to get sober. I started to wean myself off of these drugs, and I did it by myself, which was something that was so intense and such a spiritual experience in itself, to be with myself during that. But I ended up getting sober, and I went back into the atmosphere that I was sick in, right? This nightlife, this going out, this, being around constant addiction. And at that point, I wasn't strong enough, I wasn't strong enough in myself. It's like, you're wobbly, it's like you're not fully anchored yet. And I went back into this experience, and there was temptation, there was peer pressure, there was wanting to fit in, there was I don't know how to do this thing sober, I don't know how to do this thing as me without all the masks. And I ended up having a few drinks, getting behind the wheel of a car that night, and I'm driving on the highway, and I'm literally singing Eminem, "You Are Not Alone." I'm screaming it. I'm holding the wheel, and it's like I could hear my subconscious saying, "Are you ready to play?" I could feel that something was out of alignment. I just didn't know at that time what it was. And I'm on the highway. I'm going 100 and something miles per hour. I'm in the right-hand lane, and a car ends up getting in front of me, and I didn't want to hit them. So I turned the wheel, and instead of stopping, I can say this to you, I accelerated. I accelerated into a ditch. I ended up flipping 7 times, hitting a tree and flipping over a 5-foot fence, and literally clearing the fence and landing in a parking lot upside down.
Oh my gosh.
And when that happened, it's like I remember holding on. I remember watching my hands. I remember the initial hit of the ditch. And the second I started to roll, I was in heaven. And I wasn't my body. I wasn't in the human experience. I was light. I was like a feather. I was happy. I was an angel. I was having this angelic experience, and I saw my brother, Jason, who had passed away. And, he's wearing the same white, hospital gown that he was when I said goodbye to him at the funeral home. And I'm looking at him, and he's just there. It's like the realest thing. Mm-hmm. Way more real than anything I had experienced in the human experience, because I wasn't really present for that. Mm-hmm. But I was in pure presence. And Jason looked at me and he told me that I was not alone. And that I was to go back and to create a channel to allow other people to know that they were not alone. But that I had to remember that I was not alone. Okay. And that's the key, which I want to go into you deeper into this podcast about, because most people miss these little things. Like that line, like you have to remember mm-hmm. when you come back into the human experience that you are not alone. And the remembering to remember has nothing to do with the human experience. It has to do with spirit. It has to do with an energy in a field that we cannot see with our human eye. So after that happened, I woke up in the hospital bed. And the ironic part about that was like, he's sitting there telling me that I'm not alone, yet I wake up in a hospital room and I'm alone. But I had a knowing, an alignment that I wasn't alone anymore. There was a deep cellular remembrance that I wasn't alone. I wasn't doing life alone anymore. And it gave me this strength, this awareness, this discipline, this determination to walk a path of the unknown and trust that I'm not alone while I do that. And I like to say that, when I woke up, the one thing that I said to myself, which I had told you, before that I know we're going to go into today, is like, mm-hmm. I said to myself in that hospital bed, Cass, this character that you've been playing your whole life, this 25 years of your life, it's just not working, not cutting it. Like, you're not good at it anymore. You can't play this girl that works in a bar. You can't play this thing that doesn't feel. You can't play this thing that, shuts out the world, that's not vulnerable, that has secrets. All these things that you have adopted from your family of origin doesn't work anymore. So who are you actually going to consciously choose to be now?
Oh, what clarity that is, though. What clarity that is. Did that come while you were laying in the hospital bed?
Yeah.
Or did that come? That was immediate. That was immediate clarity.
Yeah.
That is so wild. I want to back up for 1 second if I
Yeah,
can.
please.
Okay. When you were in heaven.
Yeah.
This, I think, this is the part of the experience that is like, people are like, what are you talking about? Like, your body is here, you are elsewhere.
Yeah.
Is it your consciousness? Is it your soul? Is it your spirit? I mean, I'll speak for myself. What happened to me was that what I feel like was my consciousness, and maybe that is the same thing as my soul and spirit. I actually haven't really thought about that, but flew out of my body.
Yeah.
And I saw myself. I didn't see heaven. I saw the scene. I just felt peace. I felt like everything was going to be okay. I felt like a surrender in that moment. I've heard about people talking to God or seeing other colors or hearing music. And so I just want to get granular about like that part of the experience. So you saw your brother. Was it like light, white light all around him?
Yeah. So I love that you're bringing this up, because for me personally, I am a believer that our soul is our consciousness. I am a believer in that. I believe that when that happened for me, that consciousness, my soul left my body. I do feel that. And as I've come back into this human experience, I do feel like there is a field, right? There is a field of consciousness. There is a field of frequency, and it is quantum physics. There's a frequency, there's a field that we cannot see, but that we were all connected and all a part of.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I slipped through the veil.
Yes.
I believe that I slipped right through the veil.
Yes.
I believe the veil is very thin, especially for me these days. It's extremely thin.
Yes.
And I feel like I just met him. And the way that I'll describe it is like, I'm an extremely visual person.
Yes.
And,
Great.
like I learn through visuals, and I feel like I slipped in, like almost like looking at like Saturn and like the ring of Saturn, right? Like there's like little like slivers, and I feel like I just slid through. And as I slid through, it was like we just met, and there was nothing to see, because there's nothing to see. Like I say to people all the time, like people say like it's the windows to your soul, your eyes. It's like when I look at you, your body falls away. I don't see, right now I'm looking at you. I don't see your background. I don't see anything but you. It's a light. It's this essence. It's this connection. And that's what I felt with him. I saw there was nothing to see. I saw him. I saw his essence. I felt his frequency. I knew that's why I say it was like a remembrance. It's a remembrance of a frequency that I've been a part of forever.
Do you feel like you had signs from him before this moment, after he had passed?
So right after he had passed, I'm an investigator. Like I love research, and especially now after my NDE, I'm a very spiritual person, but I'm a full Capricorn, so I'm very grounded. I'm a Capricorn sun, moon, and rising.
Oh,
so I'm like literally earth. So like, I feel like the actual NDE was like a bridge from spirit to earth for me. Like,
oh my gosh, you are literally Earth. And the card that I pulled right before this was Earth activated.
yeah,
I got
well,
the
that's
Earth
it.
activated
That's
card.
that. I mean, it's alignment, but it's like you can't even make this shit up, because
No.
this is the magic of the
Oh, it's so
world.
good.
Like,
Oh my gosh.
so
Okay, sorry, I interrupted
well,
you.
no, I actually, when I had come back in the human experience, there was a medium that actually said like, your NDE was a bridge. So you can be so grounded on earth, but that you could help ground the understanding of what heaven is. So it's like a bridge from heaven to earth. But so when you say like, were there signs? After my brother died, I went into this space, and I'll never forget. I'm sitting in my kitchen. I lived in Chicago in this apartment, and I saw this face in the tiles in my apartment. I'd never seen it before. And I was like, oh my God. So I had just like kind of moved in months before, and I was working so much that I didn't unpack, and I had a lamp on a box. And while I'm like in this space of feeling, I knock the lamp over, and I'm like, what is in this box anyway? Like, why have I not unpacked this box? And I open it, and it's a journal. And it was probably one of the only gifts my brother had ever given me in our time together. And it's actually the passage that's written on my arm. He gave me a notebook to write in when I went to college. And he basically said, I'm proud of you for being an artist. I'm proud of you for being who you are. And the last line is, bless this world with your inspiration and beauty, and all will fall into place and make no sense at all. I'll always be here. Love, your brother, Jason. And that line, all will fall into place and make no sense at all, has become way more prevalent and miraculous to feel into after my near-death experience, and after we go through what we go through as we walk the line of understanding what it is to really be alive in the human experience. But then I researched his name, and I never knew that Jason meant healer in Hebrew. And what I meditated on, because I've been into meditation since I was like 15, 16 years old, is I heard spirit come through me saying, he's what's going to heal your family lineage. And the truth is he is, because he's my guide on the other side. And I am breaking cycles. I am disrupting every system in my generation, and I am healing the lineage. But I could never have done this if I didn't have him on the other side to play this game with. He is my biggest guardian. He is the most miraculous artist on the other side. Like we play. Like I'm in the human experience, but we play in the quantum field all the time. And I tell people all the time, like when I first started getting good at this, I was like, Jason, paint me purple flowers when I'm anxious. I would say it in the car everywhere. And I'm telling you, Laura, to the degree of, I'm in Joshua Tree last year, and there's no flowers. You're in a desert in the middle. It's 120 degrees out. And I go out of the Airbnb, and my partner is walking the dogs, and they very much know how I play in this game. And Jason gives them signs as well. They walk up to a bush, and there's a bouquet of purple flowers. Plastic purple flowers. And we just started laughing because he's like, I'm here. You're safe.
Oh my gosh.
It's all
It's
good.
so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
You are in the hospital bed. You are like, here's clarity. I've been cracked wide open.
Yep.
Now what?
Yeah. I feel grateful that you and I get to sit here and do this because we're both walking this path.
This is the part where it's like, now that we need to take grounded action,
Yeah.
like that part's hard. We could be enlightened, but actually taking the action
Yeah.
it's easier said than done.
Yeah. I'm excited because I want to go into all the steps that got me here because that's going to be the best part for people to understand, like walking the path unknown, right? Like
Yes.
we're so scared of that because we're taught to be scared of it. And I want to teach people they don't have to be scared, right? So I woke up in the hospital bed.
Yeah.
I understand that like there's a choice that's already been made, right? It's not even like it was a conscious choice in that bed that was made, but there was no choice. Like I knew what I had to do, right? Like now that I'm back in the human experience, I knew that I am about to embark on a journey that is unexplainable because all of our journeys, right, are to our own soul, right? Nobody that walks this path has the same story, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the beauty is that we all have the same feelings along the story. And that's why being these mirrors for people is so important, that like you can feel all this, but you can still do it, right? Like we can still do it and it's going to get done. And you just have to have that courage and that belief in yourself. When I get out of the hospital, it was like the unfolding began immediately. My mom and I go to the police station and we go to fill out paperwork. All these police officers literally come up to the table and they're like, "Oh my God, you're her." And they were like, "You're the girl that almost died." They were like, "But we have a question." And I'm like, "Okay." And they were like, "Who's Jason?" And the second they said that, my mom turned to me and looked at me and I looked at her and I'm like short circuiting. And I'm like, "Why are you, my mom was like, "Why are you asking her that?" And they were like, "Well, because when we got there, you were in a full blown conversation with somebody named Jason. Like we couldn't get through to you." And they said that they were so like caught in this story that I was having this conversation that they thought that Jason had flown out of the car. So they were searching the surrounding area looking for Jason.
Oh my gosh.
Because they thought that he had gone somewhere. And they had basically said that everything that I had told my mother, which was that I'm in this conversation with Jason, I'm begging him not to leave me after he tells me this message. I'm holding on to him for dear life. And then I open my arms and I fly back through the clouds and I'm in this hospital bed. So they ended up telling me that I was in this full-blown conversation. They couldn't get through to me. I grabbed onto a paramedic, begging the paramedic not to like leave me. And I end up opening my arms and falling backwards into the gurney. And so I say that because it's like everything that I had told my mom that was happening because she thought I was nuts. Like she's like,
Sure.
you know what I mean? Like who's going to
Yeah.
believe that?
Yeah. It's 12 years, especially 12 years ago, I feel like.
Well, not only 12 years ago, but I think, thinking about being a mom, you just lost your son. And
Yeah.
mind you, my brother was 10 years older than me. And so my mom had 10 years with him before anyone. So it's like she just lost this part of her soul, just almost loses the baby. Right. And I'm saying this from a compassionate space for anyone who's watching, because I've done a lot of work, right? Like on all the people and characters that had to play this story, like into my story. But like, I think about that and that's soul crushing. How could you
Yeah.
go there? All you're doing is like, I'm grateful that this person is alive. Like I
Yeah.
almost just lost another piece of my life. It was her look when she looked at me like, oh my God, like, this is real. Like something happened to you. After that, we ended up going to the actual scene of where I was in the car accident, because all this stuff had like flown out of the car. And I want to tell you that, like, just for like perception wise, like I was driving a G-Wagon, right? A G-Wagon is a big black box, right? Essentially. And when you're in it, there's a lot of room between your head and the ceiling. And I'm going to say it because this is like it's a vulnerable thing for me to say, but at that age, I was so unconscious, like I wasn't fully in my life. I wasn't grateful for the things that I had. I wasn't myself, right? It's a very outdated version of me. That night that I got in that accident, I stole my parents' car. I drove my truck to their house and I didn't have enough gas to go out. So I took their car. So I wasn't even supposed to be in that car. And it was my mother's car. So I say that because what the doctor had said was how many times I hit my head flipping, that if I was in any other car other than that car, I would have instantly died because my neck would have snapped instantly.
Wow.
Yeah. So not only did that happen, but like I totaled my mother's car.
Oh
Okay.
my gosh. Your poor
So,
mom.
I know.
Oh my gosh. Wait, what physically, was there anything physically wrong with you other than maybe you had a concussion? Like what else was
Yeah.
going on?
Well, so when I woke up from that hospital, like in the hospital, my head was the size of a watermelon. Like, I mean, I
Oh
was
my God.
distorted. Like most people don't really
Mm.
know like what that looked like, because I have reconfigured my body in such a beautiful way because of the accident. But I ended up breaking all my ribs. I dislocated my hip. I had severe nerve damage down the entire left side of my body. My whole left side was black. Like, I mean, black. Um, I had bleeding in my brain and I had chipped my spine, and I broke my collarbone. So, like, I had things, but like, thank God. I mean, it could have been so
In the
much.
grand scheme, yeah, right. I totally. It still feels still a lot. It's not
It
nothing.
is. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's been a lot of reconstruction internally.
Yeah.
Um, which also this NDE showed me that I'm a healer. Like I have the power to internally heal myself, and that we have been so programmed to think that we can't. Right. So it's like
Yeah.
another gift that this experience has given me. But so after we had gone to the police, we had gone to the scene of where the actual car had flipped, and just visualize seeing this tree. There's a part of it ripped off from the car, and there's this tall grass everywhere. And so I'm like looking for my shoe. I'm like looking for my clothes. Like there were things in the car that just flew out. And I see this piece of paper like lodged into the tree, like where it was hit. There's this big piece missing. And I'm like, what is that? So I start walking towards it and I'm like, and I hear my mom in the background, like, what is that? And I'm like, I don't know. Give me a second. And I walk up to it and I pull it out, and you can't make this shit up. It's his death certificate. It's his certificate of the day that he died. And I'm sitting there and I just fell to my knees and started crying because I'm like, how did that happen? And my mom walks up, she's crying, and it was in her glove compartment. And it was her car. And I'm telling you, Laura, it was lodged in Like I had to pull it out of the tree. It was lodged into it. So in that moment, it's like, we all have an intuition, right?
Oh my gosh. Wow.
My,
Yes.
my intuition in that moment was like, you're on the right path. This is a sign. Keep going, right? So, okay, I don't really know what to make of it, but I know internally I'm on the right path. The next place that my mom and I went was Whole Foods, and I'm wearing a cap on my head because my head is huge and I have gashes on my face. And all of a sudden, we all have those moments that we meet people, the right place, right time, that say the things that we need to hear, right? Because God, there's a higher power speaking through them, right? Higher power. My mom and I are in the produce section, and a woman just starts talking to my mom out of nowhere. It was like a magnet. She ends up being a neurologist from the hospital I just was let go of. And my mom goes, she was just in that hospital. She just had a near death experience. She just saw her brother on the other side. This woman turns to me, and she leads the NDE department of that hospital. Like, you can't, I'm looking at your eyes, like, you can't even make this shit up.
I like you
No,
can't make it up. And that's why it's like, this is the most wild story. And this is why my jaw is like still on the ground. So my eyes are bulging out of my head right now. Like I cannot believe it. But
I know.
of course, I love it. All the magic happens at Whole Foods too,
Right,
doesn't
I
it?
know. I love the good nourishment. I love what I
Yeah.
mean? So this woman starts talking to me, and as she's speaking to me, I start to see figures morphing around her head. And I start just having a panic attack because at that point, I didn't understand what was going on,
Oh
right?
my gosh, of course.
And there's no language, right? Just like when we're kids and things happen, we're pre-verbal. When we go through
Mhm.
an evolution, right? That's what I'm going through. And it's pre-verbal. I can't speak to something I don't fully know about yet, right? That's
Yeah,
why this is a decade later. Now I can speak to the clarity, right?
right, for sure.
So I end up excusing myself because I just was having a panic attack, and I like ran away from this woman basically into the vitamin aisle. And I'm standing in the vitamin aisle having a full on existential crisis. And
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God.
what is happening in my life right now? And I'm like, I must have been internally like praying to God, right? Like my higher power, like, what is going on? And in that moment, she grabs me, and I turn around and she says, I know that you basically shifted to the other side. Ends up saying, my father just died. Did you see him around me? And I fell to my knees and I just started crying. Like she was looking at me for like validation because she knew that I had tipped onto the other side. She works with NDE, people who have had NDEs. She, she knows the power of it, right? So
Mhm.
in that moment, I'm saying that because it was like my mirror in the quantum field, that confirmation, like I had just tipped over. I'm teetering the line of spirit and the human world. And I knew in that moment that I needed to seek help. Like, I'm like, I need to reach out. So my brother Blake at the time was living in Australia, and he's very much in the conscious community. He has mediums and psychics and, um, people who understand this realm. I call him and I'm like, Blake, something's happening. He's like, what do you mean? I start telling him, and I started seeing spirits. I started seeing little girls in my room. I started
Oh
seeing
my
a
God.
cowboy in the mirror. And the cowboy in the mirror, by the way, I'll just like side tangent this. A police officer had to come to our house, my parents' house, to like check on something. And when the cop came, my mom randomly said to the cop, like, is our land built on something? Like what was here back in the day? And he's like, it was actually a train station for cowboys. Like there was, and my mom freaked out because she's like, my daughter's seeing a cowboy in her mirror. Like all, and I'm saying that because things just start to connect, and make more sense.
Yes.
So anyway, my brother ends up calling me back a few days later and saying to me, all right, Cass, I spoke to a lot of mediums, a lot of people in this realm, and they said that basically you are teetering the line and you have to make a conscious choice are you going to walk this path? Or are you going to go back to the life? It's basically, he's saying the same thing I knew in that hospital bed, right? It was just a more grounded external mirror for me of like, are you going to keep walking this path? Are you going to trust it? And after that, I made a conscious decision to move 3,000 miles away from my family. And I moved from Chicago to California. And I decided to start to go inward by myself and figure out why I had this NDE. And that's like where the journey really begins for me.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. So how long after are we? How long after the experience are we that we're going to California?
I mean, that year, like
Not long.
no, I was like,
Wow.
yeah, honestly, being a full Capricorn, like I am a doer. Like
Yeah.
I'm a doer, I'm a beer, right? That's been a big part of the human that this transition I've had to learn, right? The understanding of like to get a lot done, I just have to be here.
Yep.
So it's within the same year. I leave. I go to California and I start this inner journey of complete excavation of everything that I was conditioned, imprinted, and programmed to believe was real, and unwire it and understand who I am underneath all of it.
How did you know where to start?
Good question. I didn't, right? Like Cass, didn't know. But that's the biggest thing that changed for me, Laura. It was like before my NDE, it was like Cass experiencing the universe and life. But after I died, it was like I'm everything experiencing the human Cass in her life. It was like the roles had reversed. It was like I was everything with a knowing I was everything and just like learning how to be a human. And I say that because it's kind of interesting because people see me and I've got tattoos all over. I'm covered, and even the other day I'm at the dog park and this guy walks up and he's like, "What is all this about?" And he goes, "Because all I see are like the words I'm getting are like love." And I started laughing and I said, "Great word to attach because that is who I am." But what I realized after the accident was I'm not the body, I'm the message. And these words that are all over me are things that when people in the human experience, souls in a human body see, it checks them back in to like, oh shit, I'm okay. I'm safe. I'm safe to be a soul in a human body having an experience. That's the point of all these tattoos, right? It's to get you here, to check you in. So I didn't know where to start. My soul did. And where my soul started with was space. First was space from everything I had known and attached my story to. And if you think about it now, right, from quantum fields, it's like if I want to create a new story, I can't pull from the old. The friends had to fall away, the atmospheres had to fall away, the location had to fall away, the things that were familiar, comfortable, my programming, my imprinting had to fall away. And then I started to isolate in a healthy way, right? There's isolation in unhealthy ways and isolation in healthy ways. And I've learned that as well. I started with a routine. I got really disciplined. I would wake up every morning at like 4 a.m. and I would run. I would put on piano music and music with ambient music in the background. And I would just witness. I'd start observing myself. How do I think? What do I believe about myself? What do I believe about the world? What do I believe about my life? I started to figure out what coats I put on in the human experience and what I needed to start taking off. And then I started taking a lot of baths, learning about self-love. What does self-love look like? I had never practiced that in my life. How do I take care of myself? How do I reprogram people pleasing, taking care of everyone else around me because that was my role in my family? And how do I turn and focus onto myself? So my routine was like waking up every morning, running, feeling, giving myself the space to feel. I'd cry in the tub for hours. I mean, hours. I'd lay naked on the floor and I'd cry to spirit. And I'd be like, I don't want to be this person. That means I was acknowledging these parts of me. And then that self-love part was loving and taking care of and validating those parts of myself. And then I went into intense reading. I read every self-help book. I read every consciousness book, every quantum physics book. I mean, I just dove into the mind, body, soul connection and understanding mind and heart coherence and somatic therapy. I mean, this is a decade ago. Now, I was talking to my partner the other day. I'm like, somatic therapy now is like so big. And when I started my private practice 10 years ago, it was woo woo. And I think I
For
told you that when we
sure. You
talked, right?
did. Yes. And it's so true. And for people that don't know, what is somatic therapy?
Somatic therapy is basically somatic is the body, right? Being having an internal experience. And somatic therapy and somatic movement therapy is focusing on the internal movement rather than the external movement, right? So even right now, while I'm on this call with you, I have created an awareness with myself where I'm above myself watching me on the computer. I'm above that person, watching that person watch myself on the computer with you. And in this moment, that's how much, I can keep going. And in this moment, I have an understanding of what my heart is feeling. I have an understanding what points of my body are on the chair. I have an awareness right now that if I cock my head a little bit back, that I'm strengthening and stretching my neck out right now because I have practiced being in my body for so long, I can feel when I'm out of alignment. Somatic is being in your inner experience and feeling your joints, your muscles. It's the internal movement creating the external. But in this world, we're working out, we're taught to watch and force and pull and watch from the outer instead of flipping it and concentrating on the inner. So somatic focuses on that reality. And
Wow.
and I knew coming back into this experience, I'm like, none of it is about our external experience. It's our inner world. And if I don't work on this, nothing externally is going to be okay for me anymore.
Almost everyone that has come on this podcast has said it's an inside world. It's an inside out world. It's an inside job, you know. Everything that we want to create and that we want to learn and if we want to heal, if we want to grow, we have to look inward. That's so beautiful. My friend who just did this 10-day silent retreat said that one of the meditations, it was Vipassana yoga or
Yeah.
Vipassana meditation. You're familiar. So
Yeah.
part of that is scanning your body. And that reminds me of that. Like it's doing that scan and noticing your cheek, like noticing all these things that you don't notice on
Yeah.
a regular basis. And so is that the type of work that you teach now?
Yeah, I do a body scan for me is like my daily ritual, right? Like I wake up before I get out of bed, I do my body scan. I have to tune into myself before I go to bed. I do my body scan. Um, yeah, I mean, somatic movement therapy is a big part of my life. Body scan, I take people through meditations. I take people through unlocking themselves and understanding what's going on in their inner world. I mean, there's so much that I do in this human experience that I'm sure that we'll get to, but that's a very big part of what I do in this experience now. Because for me, it's like the company that I've created and the world that I've created is all about mind, body, and soul connection because I am a believer. How does it even make sense to function if all of that is not connected? It doesn't make sense. Like I tell people all the time, like make it make sense to me. Like if you're not creating space for your heart, if you're not creating space for your breath, if you're not creating space for your inner world and your external world and maintenance, mind, body, soul maintenance, how does your vehicle run properly?
Oh my gosh. It's like it's so simple. Of
It
course.
is. It is.
It's so simple, but no, we're not thinking about that. Like that is not what is top of mind for us. You keep saying the human experience. And
Yeah.
so I'd love for you to elaborate more on what you mean by that.
Yeah. So I'm a believer personally that we are living an experience, right? This is a lived experience. No one knows, right? Like I've read a lot of literature in my day. I've researched a lot. No one knows. That's just like the crux of it. No one knows what this is, right? When I came into this moment, I think I have somewhere on here, it says the experience, right? That's the only thing that came through for me when I came back here is I'm in an experience, right? I don't know what it is. There's no concrete evidence of what it is. I don't know if I'm in a video game. I don't know if I'm like this big in a fish tank that someone's like threw me in. I don't know. What I do know is it's an experience. I'm having an experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm having one as a human. And if I'm gonna do it, I might as well have fun doing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And free myself in all the ways that I can in this experience and play. But I know what I know. And I know I am not this body. I know that I am so much more. I know I can astral project. I know I can close my eyes and I can be somewhere so fully when you think I'm here and there's a part of me that's fully not. I know that there's more. So when I say the human experience, this is what I'm having. I'm having a human experience.
And when you say an experience, like when we talk in the 3D world
Yeah.
about an experience where, you're going on a vacation or you're going bungee jumping, it's taking a breath, it's sitting on the couch, it's
Yeah.
sleeping, it's like all of it.
It's all of it. And it's funny because, when I got this tattoo, the experience, I am the experience. I am experiencing myself. So if I'm experiencing myself talking to you right now. I'm experiencing
Hmm.
myself walking in a field with my dog. I'm
Hmm.
experiencing myself on an airplane. It's
Hmm.
all an experience. It's all encompassing. When we go bungee jumping, I'm having an experience while experiencing bungee jumping. It's all
Hmm.
an experience, but
Hmm.
in like for me as the whole, I am the experiencing. Just like I said, like I'm the universe experiencing Cass. I'm experiencing Cass experience all this stuff.
Hmm.
But the main part of it is I'm experiencing being a human because I'm not attached to being the human.
Because is our true essence not human? Is our true essence elsewhere? And is that why this is the experience?
That's what I feel. Yeah.
Yes. I mean,
100%.
I'm with you. I'm with you on it. I'm with you on it. And, when you see yourself separate from your body, what happens when you have a near-death experience or when you hit your head or when you
Mhm.
experience trauma where they say you're in shock.
Yeah.
And so therefore you don't feel pain or it's adrenaline and you don't feel
Yeah. You're in
pain.
the adrenaline state. Yeah.
What happened when I came out of my body and what I'm hearing from you when you saw Jason and had this is that it expanded us in such a way that you can't fit anymore into whatever you were doing before the experience. You no longer fit. You have to recalibrate. And that's the beautiful part about breaking some of our bones too, because in the healing process, our body keeps the score. In the healing process, we are rewriting
Mhm.
all of the things that will fit into our new expansive version of this human experience.
Yeah. Well, the biggest thing that I can say to that is everything that I'm hearing, the through line is awareness, right? Like when we have an awareness around something, we have an opportunity to transform anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
That experience shifted my awareness. Something wasn't right. When you say breaking a bone, if I'm sitting here and I break a bone, it forces me to have an awareness of the bone. It
Mm-hmm.
forces me to be with the bone while it's healing. Having a cast on forces me to have an awareness that something is wrong, something is not working. With an awareness around it, I follow that awareness to what it's teaching me. And I have a different perspective, right? So, like,
Mm-hmm.
having this near death experience created so many levels and layers of awareness in my life. One, okay, this is an example, when my brother died, right? I had an awareness my brother died. I had an awareness that he had an addiction. It highlighted my addiction. It highlighted why I was an addict. It highlighted why he was an addict. It highlighted the suffering we both had. It highlighted the generational trauma we both had. With an awareness comes a choice. And I have made conscious choices to say yes to healing those, right? I could have seen the awareness around, oh shit, I'm struggling and done nothing about it, but that's not how I'm programmed. Right? So I say this all because when I created Now Level Up, like that is the company I created, people don't even realize like Now Level Up, the only way to evolve our consciousness is to be here now. And that is the hardest thing for every single person in this world because we're either pulled to the past or we're pulled to the future. We're pulled out of the now from fear. But when we can create a life where we're present to it, we are fully in the experience, creating from conscious choice, which creates the reality we want to essentially live into. Does that make sense?
So good. It is so good. That's it. I mean, that's it.
It's awareness. It's conscious
It's the
awareness.
whole game. Yes, it's the whole
Did
game.
we just break the game?
Did we just
break the game for your watchers?
Yes, exactly. Like what is I don't even play video games. I don't know what it's supposed to be called. But like yes, like it's whatever the secret level is, like the secret.
Wait, I have to tell you, I love that you said that because do you know how I named the company Now Level Up?
Let's talk about it. How?
Like that's the most beautiful part about this. And to me, it is a fairy tale because I was gone, right? So I'm rewinding to when you said, like, how did you start doing this process? And I started reading and investigating and learning about myself and understanding my generational trauma and childhood trauma and how to reprogram myself and do that at a subconscious level. I had spent so much time away from my old life that I felt myself changing. I felt the new neural pathways being built. I could feel it. And then I had to go home, right, for the holidays. And Buddha speaks to, if you think you're enlightened, go home, right? And there's such a depth to that when you start doing this kind of work because you are changing at a cellular level and it is going to test every single thing that you think is real now because everything in your reality is going to mirror an old reality. And you have to be strong enough, just like I wasn't when I got sober and went back to work. You have to be stronger than that sickness. You have to be stronger than your programming. So I get out of this cab in front of my doorway. And meanwhile, back in LA, I start to create the business. And how I started to create it, I'm going to back up if that's okay for a second. I have this moment and I want to share it because this is a moment that I think will resonate with everybody. I had been doing so much work that my mom had called me and I picked up my phone and she starts like screaming at me and yelling at me. And that was my old programming. It was the abuse. It was the place that I came from. It was toxicity. It was unhealthy relating patterns. And I started to feel like my soul dissociating. I felt like I was like blacking out. I felt my heart racing. Like I felt like I was having a panic attack. And I don't know what it was in me, but I clicked off the phone, threw it on the bed. And I was like, I need something to help me ground. I felt myself dissociating. So I went in my closet, grabbed paint. I'm not even shitting you. An old t-shirt. And I just started painting. The war is over. I put the shirt on with the paint dripping. And I took paint and painted on my mirror, this giant mirror in my room, a vow. I promise you, Cass, the war is over. I needed to see a mirror to tell my consciousness that I was okay and I was safe. And in that moment, right, I'm in the quantum field. I know I'm in a quantum field. I need something because I didn't have people around me to like help me. I was, but I needed the perfect mirror. And so I'm sitting there, I paint it, and my programming is to isolate and go into distorted realities and depression and sink. And I knew I couldn't do that. So instead, I jump in the car and I drive to the grocery store because I love the grocery store. It's like my happy place, right? I'm back at Whole Foods.
Back at Whole Foods.
Back at Whole Foods, literally at Whole Foods in California now.
Yeah.
And I get out of the car and I'm wearing this shirt that says the war is over and it's dripping paint. Okay. And I get out and everyone starts throwing up peace signs. Hey, I love your shirt. Great shirt. And all of a sudden I felt my vibration rising. And that was the change, because I went from fear to trust, fear to love. I started to repattern myself, and I started to create an awareness that I was repatterning myself by some kind of tool that I was using externally. So I'm like, okay, something's happening. I leave. I'm literally walking through for like 20 minutes and I'm like, ooh, okay, I feel good. And I'm walking out to my car and this guy starts walking by me and he goes in a snarky way, oh yeah, Cass, the war is over. And I'm not kidding, Laura. I'm walking past him and I literally grabbed his arm in passing. It was like God came through me, my higher power came through me, and I put his hand on my heart. This man had no idea who the fuck I was. Excuse my language. And I put my hand on his and I centered us in the parking lot and I looked into his eyes and I said, brother, I promise it is. We just have to make a choice. And I'm telling you, he starts crying, crying, profusely saying sorry to me because he's like, I'm so sorry. I'm having a hard day. Him and I sit on the stoop of Whole Foods for 2.5 hours, opening our hearts, being vulnerable. I told him that I picked up the phone from my mom and that she was yelling at me and my near-death experience and I've been healing myself. And he starts telling me, by the time we got up, we were both in a different vibration. We had moved out of fear. We were both in love. We were having fun. We were laughing. We were being playful. And it was because we were the perfect mirrors for each other. And that vulnerability, right? Brene Brown talks about the happiest people in the world are the most vulnerable. We're taught the opposite. We're taught to hide and suppress and numb and not talk about our feelings, but we don't realize that feelings last 90 seconds. And if we can just find someone to hold a container and to talk about and hold space for and love each other through it, we could all be shifting so quickly in this world, out of depression, out of sadness, out of fear. So I get in the car, Laura, and I hear God the same way I heard my higher power in that hospital bed. And I heard God say, you're on to something. This is the beginning.
Chills. Wow.
I get home. And somebody who I had met, who was in a community that I had met at an event, calls me and says, Cass, I want to invite you to a dream circle the next day. I don't know what a dream circle is at that point.
Sounds so fun though.
Right?
Yeah, I'm into it.
I walk into this unbelievable space with like 8 people who are intense creators, manifestors, all own their own business, badass entrepreneurs. And the whole thing was you write on a piece of paper what you are creating, what you want to create, and you put it out there to God, to the universe, and to the people here and see if anyone can help you. Right? I write on the piece of paper and I'm standing up shaking. And now I like find it funny because I love speaking now, but I was like so nervous and I'm like, I think that I'm supposed to start this clothing company and this like conscious awareness company where you change your frequency from fear to love and you reprogram yourself and that there's alchemy and intention and all this stuff. Next day, I get an email from somebody who was there, who knows a friend who has a graphic designer who will help you start this company. And all of a sudden, the next day, I'm in talks and already in this moment of creating this thing. Now, fast forward back to this moment. I'm in front of the door. I'm going home. I'm home for the first time in over a year. And I'm standing at the door, Laura, and you know what I said? What can help me visualize a better outcome? And I thought about my brother Blake and my brother Jason, and when I was a little girl playing Mario Brothers. I love that game. I love the game. And I remember the level with Bowser. And Bowser's this big turtle thing that throws fireballs at you. And I was like, okay, my mom and my dad are Bowser. And they're going to come at me with these fireballs. And I'm not kidding. I said out loud to spirit, what is the only thing that I can do right now? Oh, and I started laughing and I'm like, I'm going to level the fuck up. And I'm like, I swear to God, that's how this happened. That is how the company's name. So I go, oh, now level up. And I go into my pocket and I text this woman and I said, the company's name is Now Level Up. Work on the logo. And I walked in the house and I changed every reaction I would have had in the past to a response. And the response came from the woman that I chose to be in that hospital bed, which was love. Every time they came at me with a fireball, okay, I can react or I can respond. I can level up and let the fireball pass me, and I can take a higher perspective and awareness and level of response. And that is how this whole thing was birthed.
Oh my gosh, that
Right?
is so good. You've said it multiple times through this talk. You're playing with Jason, you're playing the game. It's all a game. It's like you're having fun. How can you enter into this potentially toxic environment and like still have fun?
Yeah.
Oh, you can reach for the highest version of yourself. You can level up.
Yeah.
And that is so awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. How did they respond when you were leveling up? Are you helping them level up by being leveled up?
Yeah. So I'm, like, as I say to you before, like, I don't believe that playing small does anyone any good, right? I believe sitting in our Now Level Up version gives people opportunities to level up for themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, we're playing the game at their level, and that's not what we're here for.
Mm-hmm.
I come from a very toxic environment. I do. Like, even if I can understand it from a higher perspective, the reality is that there's some people in this world that don't want to change. And that's something too that we have to sit with as humans. There's people that aren't ready. And everywhere in my life, I have created absolute magic, absolute evolved, playful, magical connections. My family has been hard. My brother and I, Blake, are very close. He's my best friend. Unfortunately, my father, who was my best friend, he passed away, and that's a big part of my journey as well. But the near-death experience helped me to be his bridge to the other side, and it helped me with my relationship to him. My mother and I have always had a very toxic relationship. It's always been very on and off. I love my mother to death because I understand her at a conscious level.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that this level of consciousness has created an awareness around is that I can love people, meaning let others voluntarily evolve. And I can also lovingly detach from situations that don't allow me to be my highest evolution, expanded version of myself, which is why I've had to take space from my mom for years. Does it mean it's forever? No, right? But for now, yeah. So like an overall answer to what you said is like, I give people opportunities to meet me where I'm at. I don't any longer allow this world to control my level of consciousness. I like to say that I don't play the game anymore of this world. I create it. And the way to do it is by being the perfect mirror and giving people an opportunity to meet me where I'm at. And the beauty of it is when you are that, you'd be so surprised at how many people you would never think, right? Just by like our old programming could step up. I'm me in every moment. And people randomly at a gas station will get into conversations and I'm just me. How are you today? Oh my God. I mean, I'm okay, but like I saw these signs and this happened to me and that. People will meet you and be like, oh my God, I saw angel numbers today and I saw this and I saw that. And it's like, cool. They meet you there because I'm seeing the highest version of themselves because I'm being the highest version of me. Does that make sense?
Yes. I mean,
Yeah.
totally. You're a magnet and your vibe attracts your tribe.
100%.
Your vibe attracts your tribe.
How many years has it been for you?
It'll be 5 in August.
Okay. So I feel like I can say this to you. At that point, it's like you have an awareness, right? You're on the journey. You're like in a place of like, that there's this gift, right? And you're just giving it, right? Like I said this to you, one of the reasons, and I'm going to break the third wall and say this to the people watching, like I'm such a big advocate of the Woo Report because I feel like this is Laura's purpose. Like I feel like she is channeling
Thank
this.
you,
Like,
Cass.
yeah, I do. I feel like you are powerfully stepping into what is missing in this
Thank
world,
you.
which is making this normal. You're normalizing death in the human experience and not making it mean what we're programmed to think that it means. You're breaking through that illusion, and that's what we need more of. So I say that because at 5 years in, it was like I was building Now Level Up. I was building myself deeper and deeper. I was walking this path. And when my father was passing away, it was like, it was almost like my angels were telling me that I needed to experience what I did to help my father walk to the other side. I needed to help him be that bridge. And my father was a strong, bullheaded, like entrepreneur that was like so hard on the outside, but such a mush on the inside. But he showed me the mush, right? Like I was the one that knew him to every layer. And I knew that his angels and my angels knew that I could be the one to speak for him because unfortunately my dad fell down the stairs. He hit his head.
Oh.
He had brain surgery and he just never recovered. He was bedridden for over a year and wasn't able to speak, wasn't able to eat, which was interesting for me because my father loved food. So it's like I knew that God took the things away from him that would normally be a numbing tool for him. Like he couldn't talk his way out of anything. He couldn't eat his feelings. He had to sit with his life. And I got to have the honor to sit in that room with him and work on his body. I did Reiki. I did somatic therapy with him. I told him how to breathe in different parts of his body. I worked on his body to release the pain. And he had been my savior. He was my guardian angel as a kid. He was my balance and my stability. And when he was in his transition, I left and was on my way back to California. And I got a call basically that he was declining and that I needed to jump right back on a plane and come back. And when I was on the plane flying back, I started to write his eulogy. And all I could write on the plane was, how do you watch Superman hang up his cape? And I couldn't write anything else. I still feel like crying right now. Like there's this part because I knew that this character in my story was about to leave. And when I got back, they had said that he hadn't opened his eyes, hadn't spoken since I had left before. And I'm not kidding. I go straight from the airport to the hospital and I brought my Bluetooth speaker. I love to dance. And I'm outside the hospital room and my brother goes, "What are you doing?" And I take out my speaker and I press play and I blast this music in the hospital. And he's like, "What are you doing?" And I didn't answer him. And I walked into the room and I just started dancing and jumping up and down and playing. And my dad slowly opens his eyes and he smiles. And my brother goes, "How do you do this? Like, how do you do it?" And I said, "Well, would you open your eyes to the dark or would you open it to the light?"
Ooh. Wow.
Right?
Yes.
So I like got the chills because it's the truth. Like we play
Yeah.
this game in such a programmed way that we think we have to be these people and tie
Yeah.
our ties. And my dad was the quintessential, like wore a tie and suit every day, like had his
Yeah.
own business, all this stuff. But underneath, I saw who he was. Same with
Yeah.
anyone I stand in front of. It's like, I see who you're playing and you're so much
Yeah.
more and I see it. And I
Yeah.
pull that out of people. So I'm sitting in his room and the next day comes. It's the day he's going to pass. I'm laying in bed with him. I'm looking in his eyes. He has this mask on helping him breathe. And I say to him, "You know, Dad, you never asked me about India," because I ended up closing my practice and booking a ticket with one backpack and going to India and walking through India for 40 days and 40 nights because I was just like, this is what I need to do. And it was just a whole experience. That's another thing.
for another podcast.
Different podcast. So I said, you didn't ask me how my trip was. And his eyes got wide, and I'm looking in his eyes and I said, I found the key to life. And his eyes like go like this. And meanwhile, I'm playing like Burning Man music in the background, like a Burning Man. And my mom's in there, my brother's in there. And I said, the key to life is to let go. And he died about 22 seconds after that.
Oh my God. Permission.
Yeah. And mind you, my father died at 2:22, which 222 is alignment. So I knew in that moment that there was a reason. And when I got to stand up and say his eulogy, the eulogy was saying, how do you watch Superman hang up his cape? And it was about balance and stability moving out of my life, and knowing that every moment after my father died, that I got the opportunity to look in the mirror every morning, look myself in the eye, look to my left, and grab my cape. And I see it as this quilted cape with all these stitches and different pictures and colors. And I get to throw it on with all these memories and lessons and things that he taught me and wisdom, but that I get to finally be the hero of my story. And I knew it was that moment. I knew it was that moment that he was like, this is your gift. You just have to see it that way. Instead of seeing me leaving your story, I want you to see you becoming the hero of it now, knowing that I'm still here, just not in physical form.
Wow. Full body chills.
Yeah.
That is so incredible.
Yeah.
And also what courage it takes to have that mindset in a space where it could be really painful, and it probably still was painful, but you saw the polarity of the pain.
Yeah, I call it like a radical shift of perspective, right? Like subconscious reprogramming is constantly attuning yourself to trust, to faith, from fear. And I'm a believer that all of our initial programming coming into this human experience, being a baby, like you think about a baby crying on your chest, it's fucking scary. Like it's scary. I'm this baby in a human experience. I don't know what's going on, right? Our initial programming is fear. And if we're raised in environments that just feed the fear, which most of it does, because we come from generational trauma, we are like bounds of like threads that are just woven and wired and programmed in fear. And I'm a big believer that when we wake up in our life, it starts the process of unraveling. That's why Now Level Up is unwiring the fear, rewiring it with love, right? I have created something that I will give you the link, and I don't know if you want to put it under here, but like there is a method that I've created. I mean, I've walked this path. I created a business from it. I created a 12-step program that takes people through a 3-month, I call it the foundational period, right? Where we really rip out the weeds and we replant, right? To grow something new. And it builds a foundation to grow from. It's not easy work, but it's literally like, it's a map. And there's a method that I've created, right? And it's called a concrete method to master your emotions. And it takes you through a method and a process, not to detach in an unhealthy way, but it gives you an exercise of understanding how you can witness yourself, not as yourself, but as the world, right? As all the things, and how to completely reprogram yourself from fear and old beliefs and negative thoughts, looping and also feelings, right? Like feelings aren't facts, thoughts aren't facts, right? We get caught in beliefs, and we're all running in a cycle and a program that we're very used to, right? I think it's Joe Dispenza that talks about when we're 35 years old, like we're already fully programmed. Like it's very hard to go backwards, but you can do it, right? But we have automatic programming by the time we're 35, right? This gives you tools on how to reprogram that and how to feel, because when you ask me, like, how do I move through pain? I feel it. The difference between then and now is I feel it. I didn't feel it then. I numbed from it. I escaped from it. I ran from it. I was terrified of feeling the pain because it felt all encompassing.
Yeah.
We get scared thinking that if we feel something, we're going to get swept away. The wave will carry us, when really the wave teaches us if we let it. If we let our feelings teach us, there's so many layers. And in the method, I go into very big detail around like, what is it teaching us? Where did it come from? We have to be, it's like we have to be the I don't want to say parent because it's a complete reparenting program, right? We're reparenting ourselves all the time, coming back to little us. But like, it's about being an advocate for ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? Like I have a daughter, she's 4, right? I tell people all the time, I treat myself like I treat her. If she's screaming and yelling, I don't yell at her and tell her to be quiet. I witness her. I observe her. I study it. I love her for what she's feeling. I validate her. Honey, it's okay. I love you. What are you feeling? I ask her if she's having a small feeling, a medium feeling, a big feeling, right? I ask her to identify it because I want to identify my own. And then we feel it together. We move through it. We shift it. We discern, like, is this something that's like, that we want to feel? Or is there another choice? Can we feel something else? And it's like a rinse and repeat. And that's it's a method, right? And I've learned the method. So I give it to my daughter, but I give it to little me, essentially.
That's such rich parenting advice too. My 4-year-old's consistently having meltdowns, and I can say that I respond or react differently each time. That was for me right now. I need that.
Yeah.
I needed that to use with little Wes.
Yeah. Oh, is this his name? Wes?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm a believer, right? That the quantum field is mirroring to us what we need to see. And so for me, when I see my little girl crying, right? The second I see her crying, I take a breath and I'm like, I need to be here. I need to be here. Like everything else can wait. Nothing is more important. This is the field telling me I need to be present. I need to be here. And then I sit and I observe and I feel what I'm feeling. I go into my somatic feeling of like, what is this bringing up in me? Am I like triggered? Am I scared? Can I breathe? Like, why do I feel this way? And then I bridge the gap between my heart and hers. And when I do that, I'm doing it to myself. It's like I visualize me with little Cass sitting here and it's like I ground me and it bridges to little Cass and then it bridges to my little girl. And every time she can feel it, we have a language that is so cosmic because I am her. She is me. I am giving her everything that little Cass never got to get because I'm finally giving it to little Cass now. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. And I will say that little, big, and medium feeling works wonders because the second they're crying, like when she's crying and I get to ground and I go through my process and I hold her and I literally just look at her in the eyes. I'm like, can you tell me, like, is it little? Is it medium? Is it big? And where do you feel it? And they can identify it. She's always like, it's my chest and it's medium. And I'm like, okay, well, what is it saying? And sometimes if she's eating, she'll say, God told me I'm full. I didn't teach her that.
Wow.
They are so smart because they're pure consciousness, but we have to give them the platform to be themselves. We have to give them the platform and the container to hear them, but to give them tools just like we never got. We never got those tools, right? So like as conscious parents, we get to give what we never got. We complicate the shit out of the human experience when really like it's so simple, but we feel like the simplicity is too easy or not allowed or whatever it might be. But this is a journey back home to that. I mean, I love when people say magic and they're like, oh, it's woo woo. And I'm like, it's broken down to me accepting God is in control. And God, by the way, for anyone watching, is God of your own understanding. It could be Jesus. It could be Yeshua. It could be, Buddha, Krishna, Allah, Shiva, a feather, a frequency, a butterfly, a feeling, a song, whatever God is to you. It's like me accepting God or a higher power of my understanding is in control. That's magic.
Oh my gosh. It is magic. And the way that you speak about it, you are conjuring.
Yeah, 100%.
You are a witch. You're a modern day witch. We all are, but we all are.
Yeah.
It's recognizing that we have the power
We're mystics.
to conjure it.
We're mystics. Because even people like,
Yes.
I see men all the time, like men are amazing too. Like they can, you know what I mean? Like divine masculine men. It's like, even with women, right? We get such bad juju put on us and we're called a witch or this. It's a mystic. We're mystical. We are mystics because we believe in the sacredness of this life. We are, right? Like it's just, and I will just say this, the beauty of magic and believing, even in this message of what you and I are talking about, is like, it changes your frequency. If they're watching this podcast right now, right, and you watching this actually sit in the frequency of shit, oh my God, I actually believe this is magic, this is a sign. It will change your frequency, which changes the field, which helps you attract a higher frequency, which gives you, like, you have to live in the frequency to attract it. And this is medicine if it's utilized the proper way. So I hope whoever's watching this, you really utilize it. Take it in, breathe, listen to it over and over and over again, reprogram yourself, whatever you need to do. But like, we're here. We love you. It is not woo-woo, but it also is woo-woo. And who cares? Like,
it's so good. It's so good. I love it. It's so good. And it feels so good. And it can be full of joy. Like the reverence and the sacredness can be full of joy.
That's the biggest thing. And I'm so glad that you said that, because it's the one thing. If somebody goes on my website, by the way, and you go into the 12-week program, the one thing that people say, and this is, I don't care if you take the program or not, is you can do this work having fun. People talk about shadow work all the time online, and I've never prescribed to that because it's color work. You can create color. You can do it with happiness and do it with joy, but you got to do it with someone who sees the world in that way. You've got to attract the people around you that see the world through color, that play in the world. My whole life is color. It is magic. It is playfulness, because I am attracting my inner world. And when I work with clients, I'm like, we're going to have fun. We're going to dive. We're going to go into the places that you think are dark, and we're going to light it up. We're going to show you how much color. We're going to have so much fun doing it. We're going to be playful around it. We don't have to take it so seriously, and we can become who we have always wanted to be and free ourselves in this experience. And we can do it in such a badass, playful way.
We are going to take the Bluetooth speaker into the hospital room and we are going to dance.
Yes. I mean, for real. Like, come on, everybody. Like, that's when this gets to be fun.
Yes.
It gets to be fun.
It's so good. It's so fun. Yeah. Cass, thank you so much. This was awesome.
Yeah. Thanks for playing in the magic with me.
Thank you for listening to The Woo Report. For way more woo-woo, please follow and subscribe to the Woo Report podcast on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, or wherever you love to listen. Never miss an episode of The Woo Report by joining the community at thewooreportpodcast.com. Thank you for liking, sharing, rating, and loving on this little slice of magic. I am so, so grateful you are here. Bye.